I told you so. I want to say I hate to tell you that I told you so, but I'm not. I told you what would happen if a certain person got in the office, the highest office of these United States of America. And now, first thing I do is I wake up and I hear there's a mass email out there telling people from kids, from kids to parents to young black men and older black men, telling them about they're coming to pick them up to pick cotton. They're going back to the plantation. And I don't want you to mistake any of my facial expressions or laughter as I think this is a joke, because I do not. But the only thing that I can do about certain things sometimes is to laugh about it, because it is so silly but serious to think that you would try to bring a people back. Excuse me, I have somebody who I call an elder that's going to be joining us today on this. And so he'll be chiming in, but I got to continue what I was saying. And the fact is, this blanket email has gone out to so many black folks telling them that they're going to return, they're going to come pick them up to return them to the plantation. But before we go into that, I got something I want to make sure that everybody understands, that Don Jordan and Michael Walsh had a book called White Cargo, the Forgotten History of Britain's White Slaves in America. So before you think about bringing black folks back to the plantation, understand that white folks, you came over here, indentured servants and slaves yourself. Were there ever white slaves in North America? Yes. The first form of slavery used to build up plantation agriculture was the British form of slavery known as bond servants. That means that they were bound to a master for a certain limited period of years. Under English law, which was 7, was the maximum. This is not the same thing as indentured servants, as some answers say. An indentured is a contract, a slave contract in this case. Poor people signing contracts to pay for passage to America without realizing what condition they would be in and what conditions they would really face. But when Virginia colony was founded in 1607, agents were in London picking out lower class Englishmen and women. But I want you to understand something. The first slaves did not come here in 1600. It was the late 1500s. And what happened was that malaria and a lot of the conditions that they had to work in, they found that those people were not up to the task. And so they had to look for a different cargo. Okay? And that cargo happened to be black. Somebody that's immune to malaria. And it's not that we don't catch it, but we don't suffer from certain diseases like other people. We have master genes. Remember, you always forget this. We are the root of the tree, no matter what the branches look like. Whether they look red, yellow, pink, it doesn't matter. We are the root of the tree. Getting back to what's happening, mainstream, present tense. You think that blanket email that you got was something that you need to fear? I talked to you and told you about Project 2025 and what they were trying to do. Now I told you they were going to take off the sheets. You see, a lot of y'all weren't born during the times of KKK, and y'all didn't get out there with Martin Luther King and a lot of the other people who marched and had dogs sicked on them, and they had firemen out there with hose pipes, hosing down people, beating people with billies and everything, just because they wanted to be treated equal or eat in a place that white people ate, or just for walking down the street, when you were supposed to be walking on another side of the street, or you weren't supposed to be there, period. So,
good morning, my brother. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's 3-1, brother. How you doing this morning?
I'm fine. I'm waiting to hear what you got to say.
I see you fired up, brother.
Yes, sir. I'm fired up.
Yeah, what did they expect, brother? What did they expect?
They expected the
Ain't nothing but the chickens coming home to roost.
Yes.
They're complaining about people sending emails and all this drama. This is just the beginning of the abyss.
That's it.
It's just the beginning of pain, like brother
Claude Anderson.
Like brother Claude Anderson said, we need some more pain for us to wake up and recognize what's going on this modern day plantation, my brother.
Yes, sir. And I'll tell you something. Dr. Claude Anderson, he has not the way out, but you better be checking out his books and better be checking out the things that he put out for you way back when, because a lot of our elders from the past, Van Sertima, Dr. Chancellor Williams, Dr. Henry Clark, Malcolm X, and everybody tried to tell you what was going to happen, but you didn't want to listen.
I was just listening to Brother Kwame Ture and Brother H. Rap Brown.
Amen.
That's the kind of firebrands we need, brother.
Yes.
Brothers who know their culture, know the history of the world, society, not just this madness that's going on in America. But let's get back to this. Let's get back to what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Getting alarmed about him sending around these texts and emails or whatever, backed by Elon Musk, who controls the entire internet. So this just like I told you, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yes. What happened?
The point I want to make is the person that they elected, that they put in office, who's the ultimate liar, and everything he says is a lie, claiming claiming he was after the immigrants. He gonna take 20 million people and kick them out the country. His target was not immigrants. His target was us. Yeah. His target was black folks. And that's why what you see, the emails were not targeted to Latinos or anybody. Who were the emails targeted to, my brother?
Targeting black us.
To us, our people.
That's right.
So he lied to you like you expect. The greatest liar, the greatest thief, and the greatest murderer in the world. We all know who that is. And now the course and the die is set.
Amen. We have on Sundays, we have something what we call the Church of Tomorrow Morning. You want to explain that, Tom?
The Church of Tomorrow Morning is the truth. And it's like a person telling you the sky is blue. Well, once you look up there, you understand it's blue. You don't have to come back and ask them. And we meet 365 days a meet on 52 weeks a year for them to tell you the sky is blue. Because once you hear the truth, that is blue, you take it in, deal with it, accept it, and move on. Because that's one form of the truth, that you know the sky is blue. So this church consists of, once you know the truth, what you do, you take it in, you wake up the next morning, and you change yourself. Once you hear the truth about you, the world, history, or whatever else, you don't have to come back anymore. You don't have to put any money. You don't have to do anything but go and work on yourself once you hear the truth, the same way you heard that the sky is blue. There's no more reckoning, reawakening, because what you do your self-history. And you realize who and what the problems are within yourself. And you learn to love yourself, and through loving yourself, you learn to love your fellow man. You love to learn your neighbor. You love to learn especially your people.
So my brother, like you tell me sometime, you're going to have to break it down for some of these people. Would you tell these people the importance of doing your self-history, and what is that? What does that entail?
Your self-history is dealing with you from the time you can remember. Be it 5, 6, 7, be it 3, 4, be it 8, 9, 10, 11. When your conscious mind takes place, when you can remember your past and all the ugly and devious things and all the beautiful things that took place. And these are the things that you have to do. You have to really check yourself. You have to be your own psychiatrist. You don't have to go sit down and pay anyone else in this world to psychoanalyze you when you can sit down and psychoanalyze yourself, dealing with just from the premises and principles of right and wrong. You know when you're right, when you do something, you know when you're wrong. But that's hard for some people who raised in this society, especially look at this the person we're dealing with, the people we look up to, where wrong is right and right is wrong. But that's something you got to deal with yourself. This is a deep journey, man. To deal with your own self, to deal with your own self-history.
So why do you think we're scared of it?
Why are they scared? Because of the ugliness. Because of the things that you have to see. You have to take and change you. Nobody else is going to do that for you. You have to do that. And that's the hardest thing for some people to do. So to face their own reality. To face their own frailties. To face their own ugliness. To face their own pain. They rather live with it and spread it and like hurt people. And they rather keep that shit in them and keep and pass that shit on rather than to deal with it and eliminate it out of their lives.
So tell them what you told me about having the jurors, you understand, and who is the judge and
you're facing a jury. You're facing a jury. That's what it is. It's like you're on trial. And you got a jury, and the jury is your ancestors.
Amen.
The jury is your mother, your grandmother. The jury is the jury of truth. The jury is Martin Luther King. The jury is Malcolm X. All of them is on that panel. You got it?
Yes.
And that's when you're sitting there while you're on trial, and you're sitting there and you're telling them. And that's what you say. You're telling them all your problems, all your weaknesses, all this, and they're going to decide if you're guilty or not guilty. Through the black code of law, the black code of spiritual law. You see? You're not dealing with no invisible. You're dealing with people who walk this earth.
So
people who've been here. People that you can see. People that you can feel. People that if they still was living on this earth, that some of your people, some of your ancestors actually touched. Not no invisible deity that you've been taught about and wonder why you in a condition that you're in.
All right. So for black folks that's scared and don't want to look into that closet where all that nasty stuff resides, what is the benefit of doing your self-history? What does it make you?
It makes you a revolutionary, brother. Revolution only means change. That means you have revolutionized yourself. You have changed yourself. And through that change of self, you understand, you become what I call on the board of revolutionaries, become in a band of revolutionaries, where you finally understand what it means to change yourself, change your environment, change your condition, and become basically a soldier in your community.
You know,
a soldier in your family, and a soldier in your own life.
You know, you could change
your own general.
Yes, sir. You know, you could change your people, places, and things, but until you change yourself, you don't do nothing. You've been accepting with the script that somebody has written for you, and now you're in big trouble because they done took off the sheets. You never even saw a Ku Klux Klansman before. You never even saw a cross on your front lawn before. You never even heard of nobody telling you that hey, I'm coming to pick you up, you know, or telling your child, I'm coming to pick you up. We're going to return you to the plantation. You see, things are going to get more serious than what you ever thought because you sat on your behind and you did not want to tell nobody about how you felt. So now your feelings are irrelevant. Now, I want to say something, and you can chime in anytime you feel like, Elder. But I want you to understand something. You see, we got a lot of ignorant people sending out messages and doing a lot of things, and we have a lot of people that don't know their history. But at the peak of slavery in the U.S., what percentage of white people owned slaves? Out of curiosity, look it up. 1860, 25 to 30% owned slaves. Okay, only 2% of those slaveholders owned more than 50 slaves. There were about 4,000 free blacks who were owners of slaves. The overwhelming majority of black slaves were brought to the United States between 1721 and 1780, before the end of the Revolution. But I want people to understand something. Black folks have been coming to America and all over the world for far too long, far enough for you to try to hide it and act like it didn't happen. Okay.
Well, let's get to the bottom of this issue that a lot of uneducated and foolish black people talking about today, that there was not a slave trade. What you think about that, brother?
I know that I think if people think there wasn't a slave trade, then I don't see them. I think that they're not here. You see? What that is just another social construct given to them by their master to
cause division.
That's right.
And like we already know, we're dealing with the greatest lie in the world.
That's where we learned it from.
But it's true. There was a slave trade. And without that slave trade, America wouldn't be what it is today. These were Africans that came here and did this. You cannot enslave Indians and put them on nobody's plantation. They knew the land. They knew you without a fence, a barbed wire fence to keep them in. There was nowhere in the world you can take Native Americans to this country and put them on nobody's land, on nobody's property. You know?
Yeah.
Something that's already there, that you're gonna lock them in, and they know every inch of the land and every stream, every river, every lake,
Yes.
That's foolish within itself.
Yes.
They had to take people that did not know where they were from, people that couldn't find their way, people that was frightened and scared to death because they was in foreign land on foreign soil, in a foreign environment with a foreign book called the Bible. You know, that was really deep down into them. Thou shalt not kill me. Thou shalt not steal from me. Thou shalt not covet my wife. But at the same time, and then they say, oh, how the numbers? How they gonna take 10 million to 20 million people to get over here? If they took 1 million and in 150 years they breeded and raped a 500,000 black women, even 50,000 black women, add the numbers up to how many people it will be in a period of 150 years of rape and breeding, just those 50,000 women. What would you have in 150 years as far as the amount of people, so-called our ancestors, who they considered and called slaves? How many would they be? Malcolm X spoke in 1960, so he said we had 22 million black people. He always mentioned that. 22 million black people. And here today in 2024, I think we got 45 million. But that's 60 to 80 years.
Yeah.
So if with birth control.
Right.
With birth control. Now let's go back to what I told you about with no birth control, and you take 50,000 black women, 100,000 black women, you breed and rape them for over 150 years, and you're gonna tell me how many other bodies and how many children and how many other how many other slaves that you can make from those 50,000 women in a period of 150 years? When from the 1960s to the year 2024, we went from 22 million to 45 million with birth control, with absentee fathers. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand. Let's get back.
So what are these fools talking about? Do they take that into consideration?
No, because they brainwashed.
This was a myopic, man. This was something beyond human comprehension over here. And a lot of those people that sit there with that foolishness and talk that foolishness, they need to take a Sankofa. That means a journey backwards. You know that Sankofa bird?
Yes.
With the head, when he's flying in the air, his head is gone. His body is constantly moving forward. His wings are going forward, but his head is turning backwards because he'll never forget the past. But at the same time, he's constantly going forward into the future.
Preach. Now, I'd like to make a statement. You see, he just alluded to something that everybody finds very touching. You understand? Because you've been so brainwashed and it's been beaten down into you. You see, when you got over here, by the time you got over here, you understand, you knew a little bit about this man's God. But you know, the truth is missionaries always precede the military. They soften you up, no matter what country they get you from. They treat you Christian ideals. But the thing about it is, he just got through telling you, thou shalt not rape my wife, but he rapes your wife. Thou shalt not kill me. Thou shalt not kill my children, but he kills your children. He kills you. Thou shalt not disobey him. But you know what? You still to this day carry the remnants of all of those thou shalt nots. He doesn't live by the same rules that you do. He doesn't even.
What did our people say? He came with the book, and we had the land. When he got finished with us, we had the book, and he had our land.
And everything in it.
So he came with the book, and we used to have our minds. By the time he got finished with us, we had the book, and he had our minds.
And he still do.
And we wonder what's wrong with us. And so this is why I call this place the United States of Race and Racism. It's not the United States of America. It's the United States of Race and Racism. Everything in there, every day, every application, what race you are. Everywhere you go, what's your race? Race this, race that. And since I think you mentioned the other day, and I told you we have been sleeping in a bed with this racist dog for so long that we have caught these racist fleas. So now when you go on any social media, unsocial media site that I call it, you got some Negro, a young Negro, even some elder Negro, which is a shame, that's talking about this question of race. What race I am? Dividing us by race. I'm what they call it, the FDA and the FOS and the DOS.
Foundational Black.
All different names to deny themselves of their African roots. No matter what they say, they will never have Africa hooked up to any part of them. That's why they're so ashamed when they say African American. Let's get rid of that. Because African hooked up with it. We're not no African.
I wanna introduce our audience to a member, and I don't know if you want to be referred to AWC or MWC.
AMWC, African Men Who Care.
African Men Who Care.
Organization we formed in 1992.
I want to close out by giving you the rest of this time to talk to the people and to let them know about what needs to happen. And I'm talking about what you were trying to do back 20, 30, 40 years ago. It's relevant right now. Even the things that your dad did down there in the desire is relevant right now. We have to come together. We have no choice. So would you elaborate on some of the things that you think that we need? Because in closing, we're running up on, I wanted to properly introduce our audience to what we are doing right now. See, they own all the TV and radio stations almost. But we are creators by nature. So we know how to work around certain laws and things just like other people. And so we have to create our own networks. And so this is one way that we are going to do that. And if they shut this down, we'll find another way. But you can't stop us. Go ahead, brother.
But one thing we know that America has drove us crazy. We are sick, and we need medicine. And our medicine is simple. Our medicine is unity. Our medicine is to get back to our roots and educate ourselves to truly who we are. And we need to stop believing in anything that come out of America's mouth. That's why we sit here today with this man sitting in office, because we believe, a lot of us anyway, believe what this man was actually saying and what he was presenting. It was a shit. But any black man or woman that went in and pulled any level for a man like that, for a person who is a known racist, a known white supremacist, and to pull that level for somebody like that, a man who never even made a tuna fish sandwich for himself, who never ironed his own clothes, has nothing in common with you. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But to see your demise. And what he has to lose? He's 78 years old. He's close to the death. All he want to do is empower and enrich his family and enrich his people.
I got something, brother, that I want you to close with. And I wanted you to close this out because I can't do it just like you. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand something. Listen to this closely. How is our plight connected to the mother country, Africa? And why is it important that we understand that her fight is our fight? Our fight is their fight.
We won't be free till Africa is free. And that's a line from Brother Kwame Ture, that it took me a while to marinate on that. How can the entire world get rich off of Africa? How can we go over to Africa and they took all the raw materials out of Africa to build what they got here today. And here we in denial of Africa, don't want anything to do with Africa, when Africa is the source of the freedom that we've been looking for all the while. It's the source of our empowerment. It's the place that can empower us. It is the motherland. Like they always say, Africa, people from Africa is all over the world, and we sitting here denying it and trying to claim America and trying to claim Native American blood and all this other type of stuff, while at the same time denying Africa. The first church in America was called what? First African Church. First African Methodist Baptist, one of those names, but it always had anything first. They had these brothers, our people, our ancestors knew where they were from, and that's why it was named that, Africa. Stop being ashamed, brothers and sisters. Learn with your ancestors and use what your ancestors. Our ancestors knew where they was from and knew who they were. And you need to get back to ground zero. There's a lot I want to say, man, but it's early in the morning right now. My thoughts is I got a lot of stuff marinating in my head. They colliding with each other.
That's all right.
And we're gonna come back on here and be more prepared to deliver, like Walt said, to deliver the word.
Amen.
This lonely feeling got me feel like I'm stuck in a full corner room.
Amen.
I got to get out of this place.
Yeah. Well, this is a black network. Yeah. This is what we're gonna call our black network, okay? And we're gonna feed people, and you don't have to participate, it's fine. But he gonna make you listen to something different, because you know what? None of us want to be a slave, but guess what? We are in this system that we are in right now, whether you like it or not. And them sending out a mass email talking about they're ready to pick you up from your nice, pretty home and bring you to a plantation. And some of them went out to your children. If that don't get your attention, then I'm sorry for you, you know. And so we're going to close this out right now. I had something on my mind, but just like Sid said, just like my brother just got through talking about, we are talking to you about things that you need to know and that we feel are important. If you decide that you want to partake, fine, because I know this is not for a lot of people. They don't want to listen to nothing over 2 or 3 minutes, but you'll sit down and look at that TV all day long with foolishness.
And remember, that's their job, people, to spread fear and panic.
Amen.
Don't fall for it. Got it. Galvanize, unify, and use all our strength.
And
to
if
fight this white supremacist system.
And if you have fell for it,
if you don't understand what white supremacy is, you don't understand
nothing. And if you fell for it, revolutionize yourself.
That's right.
Do your self-history. And we're going to come back at a later date. More power to you. All right. There we go.